Hello and welcome to, well, GTA, but not really GTA. This is looking at GTA on PaperSpace. I'm davidinark, and as you can see, things start off wrong already. The screen is off center, it's out of whack. Not quite sure what was going on there with the PaperSpace environment, but when I tried to get out of full screen and go back into full screen or do any of those kinds of things, it would just hang here on resizing. So we pick a different route and try something else. Now, after some messing around, I was finally able to get my PaperSpace settings to where it actually showed the correct resolution. And I did some poking around, and part of the problem that I was having was with the mouse. And evidently, if you turn off VSync, and then if you also once you've got that turned off, then you go up to keyboard and mouse and change the the mouse input method to Windows. Supposedly that would fix things. However, as you can see, my mouse is not matching where my in-game mouse does not even come close to matching where my pointer is. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even get my mouse off of the top row in order for the mouse itself to work. Now, eventually what I did was just use the keyboard, change the settings back to direct input, and then just hit escape. And once I did that, actually, it kept wanting to change it back to Windows. I forgot about that. I don't know. This whole environment was just so bizarre. It wasn't really working for me. But I finally got to where I could get the control of my mouse back again in order to at least get into the game for some gameplay. And speaking of gameplay, you can see my on-screen mouse is moving around, even though in-game I don't have a mouse control. And as soon as I put my mouse on the screen in order to look around, it goes crazy. So I jumped into settings. Notice that when I'm in settings, I mean, yes, there's a little bit of a delay, but the mouse actually behaves close to as expected. It's only when you are in the game trying to look around that the mouse absolutely wigs out and you cannot control what's happening. In fact, you don't actually even control the mouse per se. Like your aiming dot, your aiming reticule is almost fixed in position on the screen. It is so bizarre. So I just went through and I tried to change as many different aspects, pieces, parts, different settings. I turned a bunch of stuff on. I turned a bunch of stuff off. No matter what I did, though, the mouse problem persisted. And so, as you can see, I can move the mouse around on the screen, and all it does is completely wig out the game. I don't know. I did some poking around online, and basically the suggestions were either the things I'd already done, turning off VSync, setting the game so that it is in windowed mode, playing around with the mouse input type, just trying different things. None of that fixed it at all. And in fact, a lot of the advice that I found online actually had to do with older versions of PaperSpace and whatever the partner program is, Parsec. And those have to do with older versions where you actually had some options for the mouse. Now, I will tell you that the current flavor of PaperSpace actually does have a couple of mouse settings. If you bring up the control panel here, or whatever that little menu is called, you'll see there are options here. I can emulate a USB mouse, which is on by default, but I can turn that off. But as you can see, at that point, it absolutely disabled the in-game mouse. I could use it as a Windows mouse, but not inside the game. That absolutely failed, so that didn't work at all. So what I needed to do was go back up into the control panel, go to those advanced settings. As you can see here, I tried to even send Control-Alt-Delete to my virtual machine. That did not work at all. And tried that again. So I couldn't get that to work. So some of the other settings in there had to do with using the mouse, trying to do settings for the mouse. None of that worked for me. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. One of the options that is in here is that you have a gamer mode. You see at the top gamer mode. And you're supposed to be able to hit Control B when you're in the game, and that is supposed to allow the machine to take control of the mouse, and that I never could get that work. Control B did absolutely nothing for me. But you see, once I turned on the USB mouse emulator, the game started working again, except for the fact that when I tried to move around, it would just give me that wiggy little mouse movement thing that evidently is a major problem. If you watch the last video where I was playing BeamNG and I was trying to move the camera around with my mouse, this is the exact same thing that was happening, but in BeamNG I didn't quite understand it. In GTA it is blatantly obvious. So I don't know, as far as playing GTA in PaperSpace, I cannot recommend it. In fact, I can't recommend at this point any game that uses the mouse, because at least on my computer, no matter what I did, it didn't work. I even tried firing the game up in Firefox thinking that it was a Chrome issue. No matter what I did, it didn't work. I don't know. If you got any ideas, I would love to hear them. Matter of fact, you got any questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories, feel free to share those with me. Leave those down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll figure this out together, hopefully, maybe. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.